Hey, it is I, Rocket Man, and this is The World According to Rocket. This episode is brought to you by we got a damn fine game coming up tomorrow. Number 2, Ohio State, and number 3, Michigan. But why are they playing it at the crack of dawn, for crying out loud? Why?
Broadcasting live from the only establishment in town that can't kick him out. His own basement. The World According to Rocket.
Yeah. I know. It's noon. It's noon Eastern. I get it. It just feels like this should be a night game to me. Number 2, number 3? Come on, man. I know there are logistics involved. I know that. But come on, more viewership tomorrow night. If it was a night game. Number 3, Michigan. At number 2, Ohio State. Hatred, excitement, stress. And that was just me last night downtown in Nashville at the bars. Let's look at the numbers. The big boss daddy college football computer. And let me just remind you, it is 75% accurate. Overtime, which means 25% of the time it's just bollocks. So be warned. So here's the thing. The power rating, we always start with that. Ohio State, Michigan, there's a 5.1 point advantage according to the power rating. And I always try to verify the favorite when I do these numbers. All right, so they're a 5-point favorite. Is that right? That seems to be right. We add the 2 points for a home game, as suggested by Sagarin. I always follow his advice on that home game number. And look there, that's about right. It opened at 7.5, and it's currently at 7.5. A couple of places it's up 8, -8. I think one place it's even -9. But all of that to say, this looks fairly reasonable, that they're a 7.5 favorite, and I can live with that. Now, what I do is I scrutinize efficiencies, offense and defense. What I want to see is how they're going to perform. The Ohio State offense is going to perform against the Michigan defense. And in this particular scenario, Ohio State has a 13% advantage. Now, this is percent. It's not points, okay? And then I compare that to how the Michigan offense compares to the Ohio State defense. And really, it's kind of a push in this number, right? A couple of percentage advantage. Michigan has a 9%, 8.5% advantage in special teams, and Ohio State has a +4 turnovers. Now, when I look at the game, when I look at the home and away, and that's the main one that I use the L3, particularly this late in the season. I use the last 3 games just because I want to see them. But what I use in my handicapping is the home and away, and I come up with a number of 51-34. Now, these are raw numbers. These are numbers that have to be adjusted, all right? And I use this formula up here, which you cannot see because it's for members only. I use this formula up here to determine what all of these numbers mean here, and I come up with a final number of 42-28. Now then, here's what else I do. I want to make sure, historically, this number makes sense. Right? So I go back and I try to find recent examples of where this number makes sense on whether it's whatever game it is. Doesn't matter whether it's Ohio State, Michigan or not. And this number makes sense. And then in looking historically at the numbers, I had forgotten that this is a revenge game for Ohio State. And I'm very comfortable with this number. Okay, here's the disclaimer about the Big Boss Daddy college football computer. It's accurate 75% of the time. That's good. Problem is, it's bollocks 25% of the time. I offer no guarantees. It's just my humble opinion and assessment of the numbers, and that with $3.25 will get you a venti latte at Starbucks. If you like what we do, I would really appreciate you subscribe, a like, a share, however you'd like to support the channel. I'd really appreciate that. I have no dog in this fight. This is just the way that I look at the numbers, the way that I interpret them, the way that I see them, the way I analyze them. And I wish both teams an equal amount of fairness and success and no injuries. There it is. See you next time.